Welcome back, everybody, to the Connected to the Webb podcast. I am out of my mind excited. And I do say excited a lot because I'm kind of nerdy and I like all the guests that come. But I have a very special lady with me today who's going to talk about some super awesome stuff. And I feel like in my little microcosm, you could be the most famous person that I would know. And we'll get into that. But this is Kristen Cavey from Kristen Cosmetics.
Yes.
Entrepreneur, sole proprietor. Unless your daughter gets involved.
She helps me wash my makeup brushes.
Yeah.
Plays with my makeup. Yes.
Respecting all child labor laws, of course. So I think one of the coolest things that I've experienced when I've had guests on is that the story matters, right? I feel like we're in a world where it's like tech, social media, which you're really good at and it's part of your career. But I feel like sometimes it loses the person. And from what I've seen from your content, there's so much of who you are in that, but I don't know that my audience would know you yet. So tell us who you are.
Oh, wow.
Who are you? Flashlight.
When someone asks me like who you are, what you do, I'm like, wow, what part do you want to know about? Because I really feel like God put me on this earth to go through and experience things so that I am able to help other people that are then going through that. Like when you make it up that totem pole and you reach back and you grab the hand of the person behind you that is going through that. I truly feel like what haven't I experienced? What haven't I done? From being on a reality show when I was 26 years old to, being a single partnered mother, divorce.
I love that
all
term.
of those things.
I wrote that down when we met at Starbucks.
I just came up with that out of nowhere.
Say that again.
Single partnered mother. So
single partnered mother. We'll explain that.
We will get in. We will. And I see a lot of women that are experiencing that. I'll be 44 years old. I'm proud to say, with some tweakments. I'm proud of my age.
Tweakments?
Tweakments. We can talk about that later.
Is that trademarked? Okay.
No, but I should. I am a mother, obviously.
Huge.
Yes, right. I'm a stepmother. I do have my own makeup business, so I'm a local makeup artist.
That's 3 hats.
Yes, and I am also a social media influencer, which
brand ambassador would be like part A, sort of, kind of, right?
Yes, brand ambassador, content creator, social media influencer. Those
I only have 10 fingers.
Those things, yes. So all of those kind of goes into the same bubble.
So the answer of who you are has a lot of parts.
A lot.
And
I play a lot of roles. That. Yes.
I know what's coming because you and I chatted before, so I know that there's some really cool back stuff. But I asked you a question at the end of our chat time. Spoiler alert, every guest I meet with in chat, just to make sure we're cool to vibe and they're comfortable on camera. And I just learned a little bit about the guest. And I asked you something at the end, what you wanted an audience or a viewer to get out of this podcast. Mm-hmm. Do you remember your answer with that?
I wanted them to feel inspired to live their dreams, to not be afraid of being who they truly are, walk in their own skin, embrace their weirdness. And
you said you hit all those. One was, it's okay being unfinished.
So yes.
Now, I'm not a traveled man because I love the U.S. and stay in my little bubble, but I've experienced a lot of crazy things in my life. But some of the phrases you keep saying I've never heard of, but that was really profound to me. It was like my hair stood up. And when you said that, I was like, wow, that is significant to be a woman in a business that has layers, but it starts topical physically with appearance. That's part of your business. To have that underlying theme was pretty special to me as a recipient of that conversation. And I hope that the audience also kind of gets that through our chats today. So I wanted to remind you of that one, that I think you said it's okay to be unfinished. And I just sat there.
A work in progress. I feel like when we stop learning, when we stop doing things that scare us, when we stay in our comfort zone, we never grow. And I feel like as we get older, we start to be like, oh, it is what it is. I am what I am.
Yeah.
Like whether it's weight, which weight loss, we'll talk about too. Oh, I'm just fat. That's it. I'm 44 years old. I accept it is what it is. Well, there is a part of you to be like, look, I need to embrace like and who I am, but you also are allowed to make changes. You are allowed to change your mind at any time. Now, there's always consequences to changing your mind, and you have to take responsibility for say, okay, well, this isn't working, like in a divorce, like this isn't working for me. When you have to take responsibility for your actions, but you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change who you are. I feel like I have been a million different people dying and born again.
Oh yeah, that phrase already. Where the person you are was because the old person died, or some version of that cliche.
Yes.
Yeah, that's again like all the feels in that.
Yeah, and still 44 years old. I'm still
young. 44 years young.
I am still reinventing and reincarnating myself, and then it's okay to do that. We don't have to accept anything for what it is. And I feel like a lot of times people just get into this like state of it is what it is, and like why does it? And I got in trouble when I was younger a lot for questioning. Well, why is it like that? Well, why?
As a kid, parents were like,
"Oh yes, because I said so." Because I said so, and as a mother now, I try to say, "Well, this is the reason why we don't do these things, or we don't have our iPads at the table, or why? Because I said so." Well, because the quality time that we spend together is sometimes limited, or I always try to give an explanation because. A lot of times, which, parents are learning as they go along, it was always because I said so. And I, Kristen, did not accept that.
Yeah.
So we can always change. We can always become whoever we want to be. I never thought I'd be sitting here doing
on my podcast. I know. How awesome is
that? I know. I never thought that I would have somebody say the most famous person that they know.
Yeah. You're welcome for that.
Thank you. I could say at the 10-year-old Kristen that used to perform in front of my parents on holidays and things like that, doing shows, is very proud.
Well, I know a lot of people that know who you are as a businesswoman.
Thank you.
That don't know you individually, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, and I think in the news world they call that a throw. You just kind of gave yourself a throw about. You talked about divorce and stuff. So where do you want to start? Let's have a quick chat. And not quick as in over, go too fast, but I want to hit all these different parts of who you are and share that with the audience. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Because you came from a family that was really super noteworthy. Your father did some really great things. Do you want to start there? Do you want to start about some of your relationships? Where's first for you?
I think what road? Starting out when I was a little girl and watching my father, and I have to give credit to my mother and my uncle too. We were a family business. I think that is an important place to really understand who I am, is where I came from.
Okay, well then let's go down that road with your permission.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
So there is a story hiding that I don't know how much of your friends might even know that did not grow up next to you. Obviously your sister, and she's got friends that know, but I think there's something very special in the way you were brought up. So we are having this conversation in Bel Air, Maryland. Where did you grow up?
Bel Air, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yes, born and raised. Yes. I am back living across the street from the neighborhood that I was born in. My dad's first home with my mom, where he had a printing press in his basement, and I drive by that neighborhood every day when I leave mine.
Oh my God! Does it bring back nostalgia?
I drive by that house often. I hope the people there don't think I'm a stalker.
Do you slow down?
Burnside Drive. Yes, I slow down and take pictures. So Burnside Drive. I hope you don't think I'm a stalker. I won't get the address, but I've driven by. My daughter's friends live in that neighborhood. It's right across from ours.
So I drive by that house. Reason to be there.
I have I used to live here. I was born and raised for the first, I think, 14 years of my life in that house.
Okay.
With a printing press in the basement.
And I know of one sister.
Yes.
Any other siblings?
Kelly. No, just me and her.
So you guys were partners in crime.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you stay in the area for post high school?
I went to Catholic High.
Okay, got it.
So I went to Catholic High. My sister went to Falston.
Okay.
I needed private school.
Needed. I feel like I have to ask a question. What is your version of needed to be in private school?
That's the sentence my mom said. I needed private school because of this, which I actually make a business out of now. But when I was younger, I talked too much.
Chatty Cathy.
Talked back.
Oh.
Questioned.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
Argumentative.
Inquisitive.
My mouth
at
got
the
me
wrong
in trouble. My mouth got me in trouble. My mouth pays me now, social media speaking, but it got me in trouble back then. So
how quickly could you tell me what it was like for you and Kelly growing up in your house with your mom and dad? What was that like in your story? What's special that you think somebody would want to hear about? You got a pretty American story. There's a lot of America in your family, but what sticks out if I say to you point blank, what's it like growing up in your household?
Well, family business meant that the business came home with us at night.
Okay,
so at the dinner table,
not a checkout time card kind of thing.
No, it wasn't 9. It was 24/7. It wasn't 9 to 5.
And that's tough though.
It's hard.
On kids, babies, then toddlers, and
my dad.
young teens.
I can remember and I'm closing my eyes because I'm like picturing it in my head.
I'm feeling it. We're good.
I remember the printing press in the basement. My dad had a small press. The story that I was told was when I was first born, my dad came home and said, "This is my last paycheck. Make it work." My mom's like, "What?" He goes, "I quit. I'm doing this on my own. Starting my own business. I can't work for anybody else."
Wow.
So my mom was like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "I'm buying a printing press with my last check." Put it in the basement, and started printing like brochures, flyers. Luckily, my dad's cousin owned Hammerjacks, the original. So he gave my dad business of printing
of
the original. Yes, Louis Principio, my dad's cousin. So he started printing. Luckily, he got a lot of that business, printing posters, flyers, bumper stickers. Yes, so that helped start his business. Wow. Then my mom was my dad's accountant. So my mom's the money lady. She's the quiet lady in the background that runs the show.
Yeah.
And then my dad was the one that was in the forefront doing all of those things. We lived as the business grew, we're very, very fortunate for that. My sister and I we didn't know at the time. Because, your kids living in it. We don't know. My kids don't even think they're privileged.
No.
One day someone's going to look back at them and say, "Must be nice," and we're going to know the hard work that we put in. And the same thing I did with my parents.
I hate
Must
that
be
phrase.
Nice.
We use the term family business for you. It's not just the fact that there was ownership. You had hands-on mother, father, 2 children.
Oh, and my hands were in it
business.
too. They $5 an hour after school to staple papers together after they came off the printing press.
Oh.
$5 an hour I made, right. But we were in it. We were in it too. A lot of times they would bring home things that needed to be collated, like papers and stuff that came off the printing press. We would be stapling them, help them get it out the door by the deadline. It was great to experience that. I wish that the almost 44-year-old Kristen could go back in time to the 14, the 24-year-old and just soak it all in.
Take a deep breath.
And really see what was happening around me. Now, subconsciously, it was soaking it because obviously I am who I am because of that.
Yeah. It was working in the background.
It was working, but I was too busy doing all the things and running my mouth.
Scotty McCreery has a song that's I'm gonna mess the title up, but the chorus is like 5 more minutes. And I am a sappy sap sap, and I cry at the drop of a dime. But there was a football line in there that got me. But for family life and whatever it might be, you can apply that to so many things. I just kind of felt what you just said as like, if I could get 5 more minutes and just talk to myself. And by the way, that technique, you've mentioned that twice now, going back in your earlier self, that's a huge life coach skill, is to be able to go back. And what would you say to yourself? So like, you've just on command dropped that. So that's awesome. You can say that. But so I now have to ask you, because you just gave me a layup and I'm going to drop it for you. What would you say to yourself, 1 or 2 lines you just mentioned about taking a deep breath? What would you say to your earlier self about that experience growing up in that family at that time?
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Goosies.
Yeah.
Let's sit in that moment for a second. I mean, that's... Yeah. Does your dad know that you have those thoughts? Oh, you tell him? Good.
We make sure now more than ever to tell him.
Hi, Dad, if you're watching.
Yes. Yeah, he will. He's very proud of my sister and I. This actually makes me want to tear up. But he's very proud of us. But he also felt that he failed us. And could you believe in telling this story of my dad working so hard, and when we moved from like a bigger house to like the biggest house ever with a waterfall and a pool and like a rock slide, like cars given to us, everything. He actually feels like he failed us.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
So we remind him all the time, Dad, what you've given us, what you've shown us is more than what you could ever hand us on a silver platter.
And this is about you, but this is a big part of the story. So your teenage years was the ascension. But we did talk about
life.
Privileged life. Yes. But there was a decline to no actual fault of your father's because the business changed, right? Give me a couple intro to that so you know that this graph had a peak and then it was a plateau and a decline.
Yeah. So the invention of the internet, which now has become so very much part of my success.
Yeah.
It was actually the downfall of my father's.
The printing press business took a huge dynamic swing.
Yes, people were doing things online, and a lot of small businesses were being ate up by these big conglomerate, these big businesses that were still printing, but they were large businesses, just much larger than what we ever were, or what we could ever be. And so my dad, being a high school dropout that started his own business, such a great story to have. We were at our peak. We were about 42 employees and a $12 million business at some point.
Wow.
Don't quote me on the number. My dad knows the number.
I'm sure.
He knows the number.
I'm sure.
He'll correct me.
We'll get live. He can call in one day.
He'll know. But we were very highly successful.
That's a lot. A lot of revenue.
And then in the matter of a couple of years, had to make a decision.
Now, I know your dad's listening. We had a conversation about this when we had coffee, and I asked you a question, and it was, you as a young woman at the time, even mid-20s, is still a young woman. We're still young now. I'm 44, so we're still young.
Yes,
I
was a baby then.
Yeah, in our baby years.
I was a baby. Right.
What did you learn more from as a woman or a career woman? Did you learn more in the ascension and seeing the growth and the decisions that had to be made to go to the next level, infrastructure, all this kind of stuff? Or did you learn more from the fall and how your family had to make adjustments to, what contracts, what expands must contract sometimes. It's one of the Newton's laws, right? So what did you learn more from, the ascension or the fall of that business?
I learned from watching my dad, the hustle part of the beginning.
Okay.
And then I learned from the fall. I learned from watching. Yes. So the hustle mentality, that like hard work, work ethic, people ethic, how to treat people, customer service, all of those things was when we were building. And then I learned from the fall. Then what usually happens to people is they look back and they were like, gosh, I didn't realize how great we had it.
Yeah. Which you already eloquently said, right?
Didn't realize, and we do that a lot in life, is we don't realize how great it is until it's gone. So I really try in my life and all the things I have now is to like pause. And maybe that's why I take a lot of pictures and videos, is because I want to be able to look back.
It is a capture
those moments. And as much as my kids are like, oh, do we need a picture every time we go somewhere? And I'm like, I want to capture those moments.
Yeah.
And then in fact, share them with others. So then they realize that like those moments are important too for them.
Well, I'm sure your dad's going to enjoy that segment. Okay. I could talk about you and your dad and your family on its own podcast. And maybe when
hey, you should have my dad on here.
That's what I'm thinking. Is maybe that's an idea for another guest.
That's He's lots of words of wisdom.
Your sister's going to be high on that list too.
Yes.
Although the way I was raised, I'm a mama's boy. I almost want to hear the mom story behind the scene. That'll be super cool too. We'll have your whole family in here. So let's get back to you. No, segmenting out. So this is the Kristen show today. Yeah. So okay, well let's kind of transition that. So your family business, you're growing up, you're learning so much in the beginning. You saw that there was a fall. And just business-wise, not your family or your relationship, just the business itself. Right. And then you're out there in the world then, mid to late 20s doing your thing. And then I know where you are now and who you're with. Where do you want to go next? You want to talk about some of the way that your personal relationships began to kind of shape your story? You want to go there? Like first relationship, pre-motherhood, and then...
That's juicy. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Juicy. All right, well, I'm going to move the camera and put it more on you because I don't want to have any part of that while we're talking about your juice. So, all right, well, but thanks for talking about your dad. And Dad, if you're listening, hopefully, you enjoyed that. And I want to tell your father that there was a moment there where I don't know if the camera could capture it, but you got a little water-eyed talking about your dad, and that's special. And as a dad, that was a pretty cool moment.
Thank you.
Almost made me lose it. I'm that sappy. Okay. All right. Well, the show must go on.
Yes.
Okay. This is your show. This is underlying theme of women empowerment. You're a powerful lady.
Thank you.
But let's talk about some men. Okay. Let's talk about some men. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So
Okay.
I know that you shared with me something that was pretty profound. It kind of show-stopped me when we were chatting, and I've referenced this a couple of times, but I want you to understand how much it affected me. When you said that, trying to explain about how your relationships kind of grew, there was a moment when you had this amazing segue into motherhood where that's not the exact memory that stood out because before you got a chance to hold your first child, there was some emotional things going on. So take you back to that moment for a second. Not in a negative way, just kind of like zoomed out, looking down omnisciently, if you will, third person. You share with me about who was in that room. You're about to have your first baby. Amazing moment.
Should be amazing moment.
Should be amazing moment. And then in that room, who was not there?
My husband.
Okay.
Was not there.
That was a big moment.
He was not in the room with me. No.
Could that individual have been there, or was there something preventing them?
They could have.
Okay.
Yeah. They
was a choice?
It was a choice.
Okay.
Their choice.
Were they in the waiting room?
They were. They were there. But they were not strong enough to be in the room with me.
Now, medically can't see things that are happening, or not strong enough emotionally to be in that moment?
Not connected
Okay.
to support. And that right there was the decline, which then led to the end of my divorce, which made my divorce happen. Yes.
Right. That was the pinnacle moment. I don't know what everyone's experience is with those things. It's happened 4 times for me. I'm a big old sap anyway, but like I remember in that moment, just to give a teeny contrast, can't imagine being anywhere else, especially 40 feet away. And not being in that moment. I mean, there are some circumstances,
if emergency, you can't be there, whatever. But there was every option to be there, and the
like you're en route when the moment happens,
or it's an emergency and no one else can be in the room because of some. I was not in any emergency.
Yeah, those things that could have been excuses were not there.
Right.
And obviously, it imprinted. And I'm being kind. It imprinted on you something that you. Came back to after you had a chance to enjoy that moment.
And I will say, when there's smoke, there's fire. So it wasn't just like everything's all like perfectly fine. All of a sudden, you're like, I can't really go in there. There was a lot of things that were leading up to that.
Yeah.
A lot of turmoil. A lot of and what exactly the facts were is that I was fully prepared to give birth alone. Is exactly what my full relationship was at the time. I was alone more times than I was with someone, and experiencing life, big thing in life, the biggest moment, milestone moment, fully prepared to be alone. But I wasn't alone.
Because there was a hero or a heroine,
right?
I might say.
I wasn't alone because I was with my child.
Oh,
and that's what always carried me. Still to this day is that I have her. I have her. She, I was giving birth to my daughter, but that was a rebirthing moment for me too. I wasn't alone.
Wow.
I had her. And then, had my sister who I was being,
that's
it
who
was
I
like
meant,
a hallmark.
But you just gave me some
badass
answer.
That just
when I said
came
heroin,
out of
I meant your sister.
Yes.
Your daughter's like,
my daughter was, there, and
present,
when a woman is when you're pregnant, you are not alone. You can't eat whatever you want, you can't drink whatever you want. You have to think for what's going to affect my child, even when you're pregnant. From the moment you conceive, that's what your thought is and thought. So I said, I'm not alone. I can do this for her and for me.
Oh, so powerful.
So I knew I could do it alone, but then out of nowhere, just like a movie, my sister comes running in, hands up in the air, scrubbed in, because I had a C-section, scrubbed in, ready to go. That also shows my sister in my relationship too.
I was going to say, that's a pretty big layer.
Yeah. Because growing up, I was, I tortured her. I was very mean to her. She pays me back now. She pays me back. It's okay. She pays me back now. But yes, during that time when I was, she made sure to video all the over the curtain, the gruesome moments of them cutting me open and everything, and then showed it to me. So, but that, sisters, but it's okay. But she, and she was actually the first one to hold my daughter's hand, because when you have a C-section, they're taking care of you, and then they take and I remember she took a picture of my daughter holding her hand, her finger.
And that's a big imprint for her, obviously.
Yeah. So my sister was there. She's her godmother. So they're very close. And my daughter knows that story.
Wow.
She knows that Kelly was there. She knows that my sister was there.
So you had a big moment to pass down to your daughter, but again, as much as we could give Kelly, her amazing due, and your daughter, this is about you. So, let's fast forward really quickly, like through time, because there's a complete contrast in your current relationship. If the prior relationship was a lack of presence, from what you've shared to me,
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of them. Yes.
Now you have someone that is ever present.
Yes. Yes.
But you said something cool, because while he is ever present, he also gives you something as well. And I thought that was pretty cool. What does he give you that you didn't realize you needed as much of?
The space and the freedom to be me.
Yeah, that's
exactly who I am. He doesn't try to change me. He doesn't try to manipulate. He doesn't tell me to pipe down or don't record that. He's actually the one holding the camera for me or holding my purse while I do my whatever.
And there's nothing wrong with holding a purse, man. If your lady is doing her business.
Hold my purse.
Yeah.
He
instead of hold that beer, hold my beer, hold my purse.
Right. He holds my purse, and while I'm doing, I have these ideas all my social media stuff.
Yeah.
He'll walk into the room, and I'll be like, "Can you please leave? I'm recording something." Or he'll see me talking and just okay, she's doing her thing. And I created 2 little girls that now do all of that now. So now he can't even go in any room because everyone's TikToking and
oh my gosh,
doing get ready with me's, and he's got a full house of girls doing all those things. But he very much he's watching. Oh, I know it. He's watching. He's listening to this.
and
hopefully, and applauding.
Hopefully he realizes how important that is to your story, not just as a man, a supportive, a husband, a father, all these hats that he wears. I'm sure he's, like me, wears multiple, but that he was literally sweeping in to fill something that you needed, that you can't go out in the dating world and ask for that kind of stuff. That's a scary thing, but he was there in that moment. And you told me the story of you guys not meeting, but reconnecting.
Right. Yeah.
It's a great time to share how you and Brian reconnected, because you were constituents. What's the word to use?
Acquaintances.
Acquaintances.
Acquaintances. So here's an old time. If you're 60 or something, you're listening to this, or 50, we ran in the same circle.
Oh, that's what
my mom, they ran in the same circle. So
all you young people, that means you hung out together.
We hung out. We hang out. We chill. We vibe. Wait, whatever. We all knew the same people because he went to private and I went to private school. So we all kind of ran in the same private school circuit of people. We all knew the same people. So we knew each other growing up. Never. He dated people I knew, dated some of my friends. He never even thought about each other in that way. If you would have told me now that I would be winding up with him, I would have been like, no way. Oh. No way. Not that I just didn't even look at him. Not negative. I just didn't even look at him like that. It just wasn't. I like the bad boys. Brian was a decent boy.
Yes. Well, he's got a hell of a story too that got him to that point.
Right.
He had to fight to get to that point.
Yes, but we both met through trauma bonding, I guess you could say. We were both divorcing at the same time. Okay. So we met through that. We reconnected through that way. We met again.
Yeah.
And through the power of social media, we started chatting and sharing our stories of divorce, and came hey, you want to go have a drink and drown in our sorrows of what's happening in our lives, and power of social media.
So you can one up each other on shitty situations.
Right. Yeah.
I do sense some. I don't know if irony is the right word, but it's the only one I can think of. The irony that you reconnected with your love of your life over social media, and that was before you had this wonderful growth. Very close to it, but it's crazy. Listen, I am a full proponent of the negative part of social media, but there's so many good things too. Good things. I love to hear that, and we'll get into this in a minute. If you're just who you are on there, you are here in real life, it can be a beautiful place to have a connection. And that was the reason it was created back in the day, was connection.
And so as my divorce was happening, you kind of see the writing on the wall. Like, when people are starting divorce now, like the guy will change his profile picture to just him and the kids, and the wife will have like a selfie, or she'll go traveling, or she's out with her friends all the time. You can kind of see the writing on the wall before it happens. For me, I was on a personal journey of like weight loss and self-care, and I posted about those things. I talked about those things, sharing like, hey, like I'm starting this health journey. I'm working with a fitness coach that is helping me finally like losing that baby weight after 3 years. My daughter was just turning 3, a little bit before she turned 3 when I first started, and I was posting about it. So he was like, hey, I think that's really cool. You're like you're losing weight. You're like really going to the gym. Like, I'm trying to do that kind of stuff too, because this is what's going on in my life. I just trying to work on me, sort of thing. I said, hey, I'm trying to work on me too. So let's
go be me.
Let's go
together.
Be us together. Right. So in all intents and purposes, that's basically, he saw me working on myself, and he thought
gave you that respect.
And he said, hey, respect to you. And that's how, and then the conversations started from there.
I definitely think too, like the ever romantic in me does see how that's the great foundation for a strong, loving relationship, because you connected on that respect level, and where there was you and there was him, and you created an us. I think some of even the young people now, they go right to us, and they haven't had a chance to become themselves. I had a situation in college where I broke up with my now wife because I realized like I was married almost essentially at 20 years old. I wasn't 21 yet. I wasn't even 21 yet. And it just freaked me out. There was nothing wrong with her. And I'm like, I'm 20 years old. I don't even know who I am yet. It didn't take more than 6 months. I realized that was my girl. But I remember having that moment and then, reconnecting in my own way, even though she was there. But that's just so special for you guys to, start your relationship with that respect of your own journeys. I feel like that's a hell of a good foundation to begin with. Like, it's just so much stronger than sometimes the youthful relationships we have, which are out of convenience, or the kid down the neighborhood that becomes your significant other, thing like that. But you had someone that he had his story, and I know part of his story because he shared it. It's pretty incredible. You had your story, and then it's just so cool how they crossed.
And we came together over that, and also the fact that who you are with, I 100% dictates your success in life. I believe that more than, or your downfall.
That coin has two sides.
Your partner can 100%. You can work and work and work as hard as you want. If you do not have somebody that is supporting you, especially when you have a business, you're an entrepreneur, or when you are doing something where you're building sales on yourself, like you're performing. And if in the back of your head, your relationship is not at a good place. And not every day is going to be. Not every day is the best. I'm a very realistic. Not every day. I don't have hearts shooting out of my ass every single day.
Absolutely, yes.
But some days I'm like, get away from it. But the foundation of that is there. So you can't perform. You can't. I couldn't go do this today if I didn't have somebody when I walked out the door said, "Have fun. You're going to do great. I love you. I'm proud of you." Yeah.
When your spouse is attaboying you, like that's huge.
Yeah.
That's almost like a version of what you've. I'm sure you've heard this before, like one of these like cliches. Tell me who your 4 most influential people in your life are, and I'll tell you who you're going to be. That's almost a really intimate version of that phrase, right? Because your spouse can catapult you or hold you back or push you down, which you're alluding to.
And I had that. So I realized
you quite literally lived the opposite of that coin.
Yes. Yeah. And so it is, and back to what we were talking about before, I make myself stop and think, because I know one day we're going to grow old. One day we're going to not be here anymore. And I want to be 80, 85, 90, 95, whatever. I want to be old. Yes. And say to myself, God, and really know that I stopped and looked around and said, I have somebody that really appreciates me, loves me, that, loves all the crazy shit I do, and is really like supportive. Just shakes his head and laughs at some of the wild.
I'll tell you, I just realized something too, and it is. I'm going to say this. It's going to sound tangent, but it's not. It's actually directly what you just said. In the military, they really put a lot of support and upbringing to raising up of the family, and the wife or the spouse. Got to correct that. The spouse is just as much serving the country as the soldier is, because they have to support the family. And it just clicked when you said that what you're describing in so many ways is a partner. And the truly expanded definition, not simply the other person, because you didn't have a partner emotionally, physically, romantically, legally, all that stuff, like, whatever. But now you do.
Yeah.
So it allows you to be the best version of yourself. Because nothing's holding you back.
And also
that's inspirational to young women. Like
it is.
Be careful who you pick.
Oh, who you pick. And I will also go back and say, it's okay to be a work in progress too. It's okay to be unfinished. Because although that part of my life was traumatic and I shouldn't have had to experience that. I shouldn't have, there's been times that Brian said to me, I wish that you would have been able to experience childbirth and marriage in a way that you deserve to. But that doesn't mean that there's always another chance. I was given another chance. I wasn't given another chance. I worked and made myself to the point where somebody else noticed me and wanted to also have another chance at love for themselves and with me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like I'm sitting out here like, hey, is somebody come? I worked on myself. I worked on myself physically and mentally to help myself in that situation I was in, to not just walk around like, oh, woe is me. I have a failed marriage. I'm non-lovable. I worked on myself to make myself presentable for the next person, make myself the next person.
In a certain way, though, you are who you are because of what you had to go through. Yes. So you may not have been ready to meet Brian and be in that moment and connect in that super foundationally sound way if you hadn't gone through that. So in a weird way, as I'm about to say it, because I have some childhood trauma with it's nothing like that, but it's similar. You almost had to have not to appreciate B, but to be ready. You were ready to meet Brian and to develop that relationship. And I don't know if you would be who you are. Now, I'm not trying to give credit to the individual who had to go through. But in all reality, I'm asking you, I'm not telling you, do you think that's one of those things where you had to go through fire to be ready for that? What do you think about that?
Just like I said in the very beginning, I feel like God, God put me in this place as much as I probably should be going to church much more than I do, but you're talking about we're faith. Spiritual, right? Yeah. Spiritually, I feel like I am somebody that has to go through those things, that trauma, those traumatic experiences, in order to take myself to the next level, in order to appreciate what I have. Because my sister and I could have been both those privileged, spoiled girls that were handed a family business and destroyed it. Ran into the ground, took the money and run, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to invest. But we went through that traumatic experience to make us the better people that we are today. And just like with my relationship, I had to go through that in order for me to appreciate what I have now. Man.
Oh, that's huge. Okay, that was all. He's going to enjoy that segment a lot. But okay, that was the Brian show for a little bit. He deserves it. Brian, you're the man. Oh. But let's get back to Kristen. Yes. This is your show, okay? I do want to talk about now your business, because all of these things made you who you are, these trials, tribulations, enter your cute little adjective word in there. But now we're here, and then you decided to start a business. Let's kind of chat about that and where that came from. Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Right, so I know that based on our conversation, you had a really interesting journey to your current business. And I believe it's because when your father's business took a turn and it could no longer be an employer that could help you support yourself, you end up getting a nice connection to a friend who was in the printing business. And then if I remember correctly, you got fired from a business that your family grew up in. Was that right? You got let go. You got fired. Tell me why that happened.
Yes. I actually got fired because when my dad's business closed, I went and worked for a friend that he had in the business. So I was doing the same thing. I was in sales. And we work from home. So he saw me on social media. He saw me pop up on social media. And he saw that I was doing makeup tutorials and influencer videos and things like that online. And he said that.
Did he like them?
He said you have much more online social media presence than you do when you're sitting in this office. So this job isn't for you.
But he did notice that you were really good at it.
Yeah.
and that they were good content.
He said, I actually watched it. Like, I watched you put makeup on.
A man watched a cosmetic video.
I was very intrigued. I watched you put makeup on.
But it didn't sell any printing ads.
And you're fired. Yeah.
Hey, great job on that content, but got to let you go.
Got to let you go.
Well, that's a heck of a catapult, right?
Yeah.
So at that moment, you had a choice to go find another similar resume type of thing, or just hop to it. Tell me about that moment. Like, what were you thinking? Like, I do like kind of have some success on this. Like, what went through your mind at that moment when you're like, what the heck? I just got fired.
Yeah. And I was divorcing, same month.
Oh, Atlanta.
August 2019. Yes. Fired from my job and a final divorce paper signed. So
okay. And hell of a bingo card.
And a newly single partnered relationship. So we were just starting out in our relationship, and now it's like,
when it rains,
I got to figure it out. Yeah. Okay. But all of those things were very pivotal moments that left me in that place to say, what am I going to do?
Okay.
And this is a line that we talked about there, is when I started treating my business like a business, then it started paying me as such.
Oh, you need to tell the camera that, because I think there's a lot of young women who are seeing multiple influencers, and they think that it's just a couple recording and posting. But say that again, what you just said, that was badass.
When I started treating my business like a business, then it started paying me as such, as a business.
You should frame that.
Thank you.
That is a profound statement. As a business person, I get all nerdy about that, but as you telling your story, that's huge. So give me an example.
I stopped treating it like a side hustle.
Okay.
And stopped treating it like as something as fun. I stopped not telling people what I did for a living.
So you shared.
I shared.
Okay.
And I was more, I said, you know what, I can't just say like, I do like some stuff on social media. No, I said, I am a makeup artist, and I am a beauty and fashion influencer. And I just stop. Huge. I don't go on to say, the people that do that. I stop it right there. That's what I do.
How long from that crazy August to that mental shift? Was there a couple month gap, or was it wake up one day and say, I'm going to freaking rock this?
I started to put myself out there in any way that I could. I started saying yes to everything, even if it didn't pay me, because I know that any time that you say yes to anything, even if it's not paid, you are marketing yourself. You're meeting people. You're bringing your business cards. You're saying who you are and what you do. I asked anybody that I possibly could, that I had connections with, hey, can I do your makeup and take pictures and post it for my portfolio?
It's easy yes for somebody to say yes to.
Hopefully, yeah. Oh, the worst that could happen is they could not like it and take it off, But I put makeup on anybody that would let me. I said yes to every opportunity that came to me. And then I had one woman that was a mentor to me that said to me, "Honey, we don't leave the house for less than $100." And so I said, "Oh, okay." So she said, "You're good at what you do. Why are you still doing it for free?" And I was like, I guess I should start charging more now.
I've heard that phrase in other industries.
In other amounts, for makeup is about $100. Right. It's about
you should charge for it. And in your case, that was that service.
Yeah. So I started charging for it, and they were actually paying, which was like, wait a second. They're actually paying me?
Wait, you said yes? Yes. Oh, you
right.
Yeah.
Not only can I put makeup on you, but you're actually going to pay me to do it. And then the same thing started happening with brand collaborations. As I started my social media journey with different makeup brands, which led into different beauty brands, business were actually like, hey, Kristen, can we pay you to try our products and give a review? You're going to pay me and send me free stuff?
Now, were you nervous that if you did not like that initial product, because I know you have favorites now, and then loyalties, but in the beginning, were you nervous if your review was too honest and not critically advantageous to your employer?
That's the hard thing about being a social media influencer. I feel like people can see right through if you're just there for the money.
If you're selling.
Yeah. There's been opportunities. Now, I've been doing this for 12 years now, where I love a brand, and I'm going to work with them. And then I've actually had another competitor say, hey, we'll pay you a couple X, whatever. I said, you know what? I really love the brand that I work with, and thank you for that. But you could probably find somebody else that would be a better representation than me, because you can't buy me. You can't
buy me. That's another thing you should put up on the wall.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like that temptation would be so much stronger.
I know a lot of like influencers that
who may have made that I don't want to get all dramatic, but it sounds like you're almost, dancing with the devil right there, where if you have product A and product B is like, oh, hey, we love what you did there. We'll pay you 4 times. And you're like, but I really like, and it's good for my clients, right? That's a tough thing in business, right? I don't know anything about your business, cosmetology, but as a business, that's a very tough thing.
It is.
If you're selling product A and have relationships from product A and someone says, I'll pay you to sell product B, that's a moment, and people can fall in that moment, but you stood tall.
Well, that all goes back to the values of relationships. And I value relationships. Now, all my friends and family call me ride or die, ride or die. I'm ride or die. But also to the point where you also have to know if something isn't working for you, you're allowed to change your mind. But you also have to understand there's consequences for those actions.
Yeah.
And we need to take responsibility for, and this is relationship. This is, divorce. This is with friendships.
Amen.
Loyalty to me is everything. Loyalty to me means more than anything, and I got that from my father. So, and I use that now in my current business.
That's huge.
Yeah. So that's how I remained. Like if I truly like something and use it, I speak very freely about it, and it's raw and real. And I think that's what has gotten me to where I'm at today.
You're not going to sacrifice your integrity. Is important. And
I have to sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note, I want to use something that you brought in early in the conversation twice already. This will be the 3rd time. Let's go back then. I have a question for you, and you probably know where I'm going with this. If you look back and you could talk to yourself in the beginning, are there any decisions that you would have said, don't do this? Or did you happen to make a few good ones and kind of, ride that wave? Like, is there anything you would have changed in the very beginning where you would have said to your younger self, hey, this looks really good, but don't do that?
I feel like everything that I've been through has made me, I had to work for my dad's business to understand, like the values and customer service and how to be a good ethical business person. But I remember when I was in high school, I told my mom I wanted to be a makeup artist. And my mom was like, you need to go to college. You are college material, Kristen. You need to go to college, get the experience of college, and live at college. I had to live at Towson. She said, you're living at Towson because
to get the experience.
The experience of living with other people and dealing with other kinds of people. So as much as I say, gosh, I should have been a makeup artist back then, I needed to go through living with other people, dealing with people that maybe weren't like me. You have a roommate at college you're randomly paired with.
It's random.
You have to learn, and I have those experiences of dealing with people and understanding and being empathetic towards people that may not be exactly like me. And that's what's carried me into my business. It's made it successful. So I had to go through that. Do I sometimes wish, maybe if I would have been a makeup artist in high school, but I had to experience those other things. I had to get out of that little bubble, that little comfort zone in order to help me be a better businesswoman and person. So, I think that everything that's taken me into this path is meant for me to be in this position that I'm at today as a almost 44-year-old influencer.
Now, I do feel like I have to ask you a question, which it shocked me when you pointed out those 2 new versions of your identity. You didn't say small business owner.
I know.
Because there's so much power. And I'm not going to say like minority business owner, although you are that. But why didn't you not say the 3rd thing? Because you said brand influencer and makeup artist, but you didn't say small business owner, which you are.
Right.
How come that didn't come off your tongue like that? What do you think?
That is the old Kristen, the old Kristen that is still a work in progress, that's still learning, and still accepting myself and being proud of myself for who I am. Because there's still that little girl that's like, wait, really? I have my own business? Really? Like, who are you? Like.
Well, that's called imposter syndrome. Are you dealing with that, where it's disbelief of your reality?
Disbelief of my reality,
and success,
or sometimes feeling like undeserving. Still, sometimes you feel that undeserving. There's those old help. Life coach is very good for those sort of things, which I have now. A life sort of like business kind of coach person that I work with. That those old little girl thoughts that like, wait, am I deserving of this? And
that's special.
We're always still a work in progress, never finished. So, and my time working on myself is never finished. So,
I think your willingness to work on yourself, though, is something a lot of people don't start.
Yes.
And it's scary, right? Because a lot of the metaphor behind that self-work is mirror, right? You got to be able to look in the mirror and just talk. Not necessarily like the person right away, but you got to talk. And there is some strength and courage in that moment, which, you're exhibiting to, young women out there. And
vulnerability,
not
too.
as younger women. We're not old, but we aren't spring chickens. We're the same age. But yeah, exactly. Like you said, right? And I feel like that's where some special thing, and going back to, I first asked you, what do you want someone to take from this? That just fully encompasses that concept.
This
where
right here.
You can be working on that.
You can still be. I am a constant work in progress, and constantly rewiring my brain to old beliefs of what I used to think. And
oh man,
sometimes I would look out and be like, oh, like that person did that. That person did that. No, the worst enemy is inside, and I think that's majority. All of us, really. The worst enemy is inside. The self-doubting things that you sometimes say to yourself. And I'm still a work in progress where I can say, like, wait a second, you're doing that again. You're doing that again, or you did that.
Yeah. So much of those moments are recognizing that happened. You told me one time that you'll get 5,000 likes, but focus on the 2 or 3 people who did not like it. And that's that other Kristen coming back going, well, why didn't they?
Why didn't they? Yeah.
And that's interesting. And if you can kind of go down there for a second, because I think a lot of young people who are considering online something, and there's a million of them, there is analytics involved.
Or even like the high school kids that are posting pictures of fun things of themselves, and they're like, oh, why didn't I get this likes?
Oh my
gosh. It's definitely something that a lot of kids are probably going to go to therapy for, and they're like, hey, this is what happened to me on social media. Someone didn't like my post. Like, it's social media. That's the part of social media that can be tough. And I think for me, a lot of it is your friends and family. And I've learned this from someone else. This isn't coming from me, but I carry this with me. Your friends and family see you as what they see you as, what they want to see you as, is that their version of you is their version of you. And when you are someone like me that can change who you are and completely rebirth yourself again in multiple ways, they don't see you as that. They see you as the old Kristen, the little Kristen, the younger Kristen, the 20, 30, whatever they see you as, or even your parents see you as the 12-year-old, the Kristen. So they say familiarity breeds contempt. So sometimes people see you as they see you, and they can't see you any other way, or they can't see you doing the things that maybe they wish they were doing in some abstract way. Like, oh, I wish I could be on this podcast right now. Because some people don't want this spotlight that I embrace. But they wish that they were maybe doing something in life, accomplishing something that makes them feel so good, because they know that I feel so good about where I'm at right now and what I've done to grow there. And maybe they're not growing. So they can't see you in any other way.
There's a little bit of jealousy there, that exists, and it prevents them from supporting your business.
People can't see you in any other way but the way that they see you. And then they also, on the other hand, haven't made any efforts to change or to help themselves. So when that happens,
oh man,
it can, and then you internalize that being like, what's wrong with me? When it's not a you problem, it's a they problem.
How long did it take you to come to that? Because I have to believe at first.
This morning? No, nothing. And I'm still working. And then right now, and then I'll be upset about something tomorrow. But it's constantly reminding yourself that you may not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're somebody's glass of fine wine.
Oh, you and these one-liners. Oh my God.
My father's a one-liner.
Right,
no,
dude,
no.
You better have an office.
My notes tab goes crazy. No, my notes tab on my phone is a bunch of one-liners. No, but it's great. True. It's true. So surrounding yourself with those people, but also understanding that some of those people, they are having their own issues and problems and perspectives. So while we say I sympathize with you, I got to do me. I got to do me, because they're, maybe say, oh, you're doing a podcast, or like, what are you doing? Like, who do you think you are? Like, oh, you're, I got to do me, and I got to do what feels good. I got to do what feels good and feels authentic.
Oh, that's so cool.
To where I'm at right now.
And that brings
this
in an
feels good.
inspirational opportunity for other people. And even if it's not cosmetology, like
Mhm.
a young person, male or female, trying to say, I want to do this, do that. If they can be exposed to you and know your story, which is why I do this, because there's so much of your story that is so important that has nothing to do with makeup. However, the back end of your story, it's a huge part of that.
Right. Like I say, the makeup is the tools in my toolbox, but who I am is the person that shows, myself on social media. And I feel like a lot of the reason why I do makeup is because I like the creativity part, but I also like getting in front of another woman and helping her realize her beauty, helping her appreciate her beauty, and
artistry at some point for them.
Yeah. And just like people that do hair, makeup, when you're sitting in that chair, that's like a therapy session. So I have an hour with them to talk about each other's lives and to bounce back. I learn more from the people that sit in my chair than from me putting the makeup on their face, because they share their stories of who they are in their life. You can't help but, girl talk when you're doing things like that. And I feel like the makeup is just the tools to get me there, to get me in front of and around another woman to help her appreciate her beauty.
As a man, it took me, and it wasn't our interactions, but it was prior to us connecting about this episode. I did have a disposition to think like makeup was covering or being somebody you're not, right? And to be honest and fair, I don't know what changed that perception. And I have a wife who is naturally gorgeous, but she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. So it's, for me, it's like, well, my wife doesn't need it. So in my head, I was thinking, well, if they need makeup, it's because there is something going on. But then I don't know what changed, but I started realizing that it is more of an enhancement of what's there and accentuating the features that God gave you that are special to you. And when you add in what I heard when you said it was a barbershop concept, where like you're just having a social interaction, two people connecting, like you said, therapy chair, right? Like that experience is so wonderful that I never as a man would have understood prior to whenever I figured this out. And meeting you and talking to you more about this business is making me excited for other people to experience that, but I didn't know how much it was. Like I thought it was a covering up or a falsehood, when in reality it's just actually who you are and bringing out those things that make you unique.
Yeah, I feel like what makeup can offer is to accentuate the parts of you that you feel beautiful, and then we can also help to cover up some of the things that you want to cover up, but every time a woman sits in, for confidence, right? A confidence booster. And it's dressed to impress. My grandmother told me that you dress to impress. Like we are, we're going out into the world.
As
of course, you want to look and feel confident. You have on red, white, and blue, so you're good in my book. We'll get to that too. But we are dressed to impress, and I feel like that's so that's important. And more times than not, when a woman sits in my chair, they say, I don't like this, cover up this, and then I say, well, what do you like? What do you want to? Well, what do you want to? What do you want to highlight? What do you want to? What do you like? You like your lips? Good. And we got away. So when my daughter's little and she looks in the mirror and she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, my eyes are so pretty. I love my lips. Oh my gosh, Mom, look at how pretty I am. So, and we're like, oh, that's so beautiful and special. We don't think of them as being conceited. But if a 40-year-old woman said, I love my eyes, I love my lips, you would be like, God, look at this conceited girl over here. Like, who she thinks she is. Right. Why did we get away from that? And so as a woman, I sit in my chair, I say like, well, what do you like? Of course we can do all the tricks in my makeup box to help, to help cover things up. But what do you like about yourself? And another thing is I love helping the women look and feel their best, because I know what it's like. And a lot of people are like, you're right. How do you know? I know what it's like to not feel beautiful. I know what it's like to not feel good. I know what it's like to be hard on yourself. You can relate to that. I can relate to that. So,
all right. So I am dying to ask you a question, and if you're not comfortable answering it, you don't have to. Okay. One of the things that I sensed when I did some research, not stalking,
that's okay.
Research on you, is that I feel your authenticity. You shared about your augmentation journey. You shared about your weight loss journey, and in that journey, you made a pivot to something that helped you, and you were always authentic. But there's one thing that I think a lot of people, businesses are really scared to do that you had the courage to do. And I don't want to focus necessarily, not out of fear, on what your position was, but the fact that you made the choice. In our country right now, we're very divided politically. And I noticed that you made a choice to maintain your authenticity to your audience. And it wasn't even on purpose, but you simply shared things that were going on in your life, and people got an idea where you were on the political spectrum. And I feel like that, to me, almost gave me heart palpitations, because number one, it's not anybody's business per se, but if you are having an authenticity mantra, which I believe you exuberate fantastically, you kind of have to be authentic or you become hypocritical almost. But I'm so proud of you. So let me get to the point. I'm trying to be very careful. If you're comfortable, share with us that decision that you made to say, well, some of these pictures and photos of my family are going to suggest where I am, and they're probably accurate, but you still posted them and shared them. Was there a moment where you realized, if I go down this road, I have to maintain my integrity?
I feel like I wouldn't have integrity if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be showing who I really was. Like, look, I like, kind of things. Whenever I posted pictures that I as much as I could go on the internet without getting kicked off, that I had my breast implants removed and the choice that I made for that. I talked about that. Authentic. I decided to use a GLP-1 for weight loss. Very controversial.
Authentic.
Talk about that. So those are some of the things. So why would I skip that part of me and in my life and not post about that? Right. And I don't post to try to, like, again, for body image, and we'll talk about that too, is because that ties along with political, is that I don't post to encourage somebody to do what I did.
Change hearts and minds.
I don't change. I'm not here to change hearts and minds. I'm here to tell my story and what worked for me, and encourage people to also tell their story. I love seeing when people are posting, even if I don't agree with it, on their side of politics, and I actually read it because I want to understand their perspective. I may not agree, but I want to understand. And so I can read through it, and I don't comment nasty, and I keep it moving. And I think that's something that, we can learn. I don't need to say anything back. I'm not trying to change their mind, and God, they don't want to change mine. But, or maybe they do, but I don't want to change anyone's minds. I just feel like I would be inauthentic by not showing almost all parts of my life.
And in all fairness, you were just posting family vacation photos.
I was posting family vacation
photos. It really
photos.
wasn't, you were like, look at this. It was, here's my family. It was a beautiful day. You were on the beach.
Yes.
You guys have a beautiful family. You're just like, click, click, click. And I noticed, I was like, oh my gosh. Right. And
this could could ruin her social media.
Unfortunately, that has the question of, am I about to lose 50% of my following, friends, customers? Jesus, customers. And I just, I want to applaud you for that moment to maintain your integrity. You can't have integrity and authenticity sometimes. Those two things are evergreen. It's a new word in marketing, evergreen. They're evergreen. So you would immediately become someone who would lose credibility if you were not authentic and have high integrity, and you maintain that. I stay away from that in any way I can. It makes me sick to my stomach. And it doesn't matter whether I'm on this or that, because the fear is that the other 50%. So it doesn't matter what I am, but as a growing business and networking and trying to meet people, I'm not defined myself. I'm not asking, I'm telling. I'm not defined by my political system beliefs, right? I'm not. I can be your best friend, help you when you're down, give you a high five or a hug, and I don't care what the hell you did in a voting booth. And I want to share that. But I think the lesson that you and I talked about, again, having our coffee talk, was that you just wanted people to know that you can connect with something. Talk to me about that with your experience at college.
I think that actually goes back into college. When I first started, my mom made me go. I said, hey, I want to do makeup. She's like, no, you're going to college.
Experience.
You have for the
Go,
experience.
Mom.
Whatever you get a degree in, because it was in journalism, actually. So here we are. My degree was in journalism. But whatever, you're going to college. My roommate was the complete opposite of me in every way, shape, form, politically, socially, everything.
So cool though.
We're
that
still friends.
happened.
We're still friends to this day on Facebook. We still are connected on Facebook. We found something we had in common. And it was a TV show, and we would watch it together. We
What
found
show was
one
that?
thing, Law and Order SVU.
Oh,
Still,
nice.
from 1999, and I still watch it. It's the one. I don't watch a lot of TV, but that is the one show that I watch.
Awesome.
We found that, we watched together.
And you connected.
We connected through that, and I lead with that as saying there is always something we can find in common with someone, and we lead with kindness.
Yeah.
And I teach that to my daughter. Through anything,
What a
there's
lesson.
always something we can find in common with somebody, and I feel like it would be, so somebody would say, I don't want to use her because of her political beliefs for makeup, but what if we would really connect on that makeup? We're losing that connection because of something that we're basically discriminating against someone for. So, I don't want that done to me, and I don't want to do that to someone else.
Yeah.
But I still had to share all parts of me because it's an important part of me. It is who I am. And if I'm sharing who I am on social media, it would be inauthentic of me not to share those moments. And again, not to put anyone else down, not to change anyone else's mind, but just sharing that this is to connect with those that may feel the same way.
I almost wish that we had opposite beliefs so I could prove that, but we share a lot of beliefs and values.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of my friends, I actually got a message from somebody on social media that says, look, I feel the completely different way that you do, but I value you. I think you are a woman's woman, that and I value a conversation that you and I can have when the time is right, so I can understand you and you can understand me. And I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. I said, this is what it should be. Like, I appreciated that, and we will have that conversation. But that's what it was. That's what it's about. Like, look, my values are a little bit different than yours, but I want to understand you.
I have a 16 and a 14 who will be 15 in 2 weeks, and they directly asked me, because I'm not Kristen Cavey, but I'm trying to just increase my online presence, and they noticed a lack of a certain subject and opinions. And I just told my children, I'm like, I'll get to the point where I can have that confidence, and I'm a super confident person. I can't do it. I just give you so much credit.
Thank you. Well, you may get to that place, and you may decide not to. We have choices, and that's the thing. We all have choices.
Yeah.
We all have choices. But for me, it made sense in the way that my life was going. I even thought about my divorce. Like, do I talk about this? Do I not? Do I all of a sudden, like, a year from now, post a picture with Brian and say, like, hello?
Sure.
It's the way that life kind of unfolds, and you kind of just.
But you made those decisions with integrity and authenticity.
That's the biggest thing.
When you have them as a baseline, it's never the wrong answer.
Right.
Like you said, you're not like A, B, C, D, F, G, and if you don't believe me, bye-bye. Right? It's not like that.
No,
that exists out there. It's not what you were saying. My belief, my choice, my experience, and my reflection.
Right.
What do you think? Right? That's all it was.
Right. And we can all be a little bit of everything. Who has to be who has to be one thing only. Right. We can be a little bit of everything. So
I'm a firm believer that the majority of the country is more collectively connected
than we think.
Than the bookends.
Then it's portrayed.
Yeah. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just thank you for, kind of going down there. And I would have been totally understand if you were like, Joe, let's not go there.
Right.
But the fact that you were just like, that's who I am.
Right. And if other people want to go down and research, they're more than welcome, because I always say a lot of people come up to me like, oh my God, I know Brian thinks it's hilarious. And I always have like, I know you from social media. We never met in person. I was thinking, she's like, please don't think I'm a stalker. I said, girl, I put this stuff out there because I want you to see it.
Yeah.
So that's the point. So, we're all scrolling. We're all,
doing scrolling sometimes.
We all do that at different places and different times. But, when people do come up to me and say, I know you from social media. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is all, I said, that is kind of, it's like humbling experience. But when someone says to me, you are exactly who you are when I see you online. You look the same too, because there's lots of filters out there too. We all want to put our best face forward, but she says, you actually, you speak the same. I feel like when you're on social media talking in your stories, you're talking to me. And now this is how you're talking to me right now.
And the ironic part is that's what you're going for.
That's what I want. That's what I say. So I say this is exactly
authenticity.
That means the world so much more to me than saying, hey, you have a follower. It's, hey, I enjoy seeing you, and you helped me through this, or thank you for posting your vulnerabilities, or I was divorcing too, or you won't believe all the questions in my inbox. And I'm saying, please don't tell me. I said no name. I don't know nothing. It's I'll sign an NDA if you want me to. I get the questions because women feel comfortable asking me about weight loss, breast augmentation, like all of those things, because I share.
You reflected.
And just, please don't tell me. I said, no, your secret's safe with me. I'll even delete this message and archive it if you want me to. Like, that's why I put myself out there, is to help others see that your vulnerability can be your strength.
So I was about to ask you a question for advice for a young person who is doing social media as a business, and you kind of just flirted with that answer. But what is a 1 or 2 sentence piece of advice you could give, having done this for a long time? It is helping support your family, so it's not a side hustle or a quick little vanity project. This is the way you support your family. What is a piece of advice you can give somebody who is trying to create content? As a content creator, is there some little trick that you've learned that is quick to come off the tongue and say, hey, make sure you do this, or make sure this happens? What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say, give me one piece of advice being a media content creator, excuse me?
Don't be afraid to show your vulnerabilities, but not so much so when they're happening, but when they become a learning experience. Because what you put out there, it never goes away.
Internet doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. You can delete, you can hide from it all you want, but there's screenshots. People got those receipts.
Yes, receipts.
So be mindful of what you're posting, but also be okay with being vulnerable and telling your story. So that is you can get into some trouble there, but just be mindful that it, of all parties and people involved. Speak your truth, your perspective, and also be authentic. Like if you're collaborating with brands, don't sell me something you ain't using. If it's not in your bathroom or in your kitchen or in your closet,
you said they'll see through you.
People see right.
That was advice too. They'll see right through you.
They'll see right through you. People see right through you.
And if you're treating it like a business, I do see how that's immediately correlation, because you should take a second and ask that question. Is this my brand? Is this my message? 5 years from now, when someone recirculates this, or I choose to recirculate it, is this still going to be who I am because I'm being truthful? Those are great business conversations and suggestions. So
don't make moves unless your heart's in it. That's my dad.
That's don't make moves. You got 2 free advice. That came from Dad.
Don't make moves unless your heart's in it. Your heart will lead you and guide you as to listen to that voice.
You can't go wrong.
You can't fake what's in your heart. Your heart will lead you.
All right, so 3 things I ask every guest, because you are a supremely unique guest, but I want to also keep, we almost forgot about these, and they can be quick, but you are running a business. So what is a great customer for Kristen Cosmetics? Who's a good customer? And then in the same breath, if you'd like, what's a good business who can be a business partner to you and with you that you can also help grow with?
Okay. A good client for me is any person with a face. That's
is that all? I have a face.
That's okay. I've done men's makeup before too.
Okay.
So
all right.
I don't discriminate on that. But any it's usually women, but anybody with a face that wants to appreciate their beauty through makeup, cosmetics. I also teach makeup too. So if that's something that
technique.
Makeup, I teach makeup technique classes, large classes or one-on-one sessions. So that's my person that I work with. A lot of brides. I do a lot of bridal. Sure. We're in wedding season coming up, so you got me right as wedding season starts. So brides, event, makeup, things like that.
Okay.
And for my social media side, for followers, it's, I cater a lot to my 35 and older, but I also post, makeup tutorials for all ages. I got some younger girls watching too. I feel like that's good inspiration.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What's to come, as they grow and they get older. But, for social media, I tend to do a lot of makeup and fashion and things like that for busy moms. I call it my busy mom makeup.
Oh my
busy
gosh,
moms fashion, affordable things like that. You can get right at the TJ Maxx down the street in Bel Air. That's where.
So I love that.
We're affordable fashion, makeup, and self-care. I do a lot of self-care techniques at home or things that in different spas and different places around the area that I also showcase. So.
That's all? That's all?
I know it all.
That's it?
I do it all. I do it all.
So
yeah.
I caught something there, and this is my
Okay.
naivety as a man, not having makeup in the prevalent part of my getting ready. Are there different techniques for different demographic ages? Like, would a young 20s have different makeup techniques than 35 plus, like which you mentioned demographically?
The younger girls, I actually had it where I taught 6, 7, 8-year-old girls. So I've actually
Oh,
done that too. And
okay.
that's starting out is just more when it's allowed, when you're
Oh,
allowed,
yeah.
and age appropriate is a big deal. Age appropriate is from when you first start putting makeup on until you're old. It's age appropriate. So I teach the younger girls,
yeah.
like when with permission, we just add a little highlight and blush and a little, something sparkly and a little basic to just little accentuating here and there, just so that it feels fun and exciting for them when they're
My
allowed.
daughter's going to like that at
when
7.
they're allowed, yes.
Yes.
And
Daddy's
then
not a huge fan of a daughter doing it, but
right.
you are swaying me about
Yes.
confidence.
Maybe not school. Maybe you're going to a little family party and she wants to put a little blush on. It's never too early
Out
to
to dinner
learn.
with the family.
Yeah, and it's fun, and she feels confident even at 7 with a little bit of lip gloss on.
I
That's
want my
fun.
daughter to be confident.
Right.
Yeah.
So as they get older, for the teenagers, they want to do a little more concealing. We start to get acne, so I teach the girls about the acne,
which is age appropriate things. You can do
because let's face it, when they're going to school and they may have some acne stuff, they don't want to walk with their head down. I want them to walk with these. I want these girls to walk with their head up, because I know what it feels to walk with your head down. So I want them to walk with their head up and be proud. And sometimes covering up that little pimple might be the make or break of their entire day.
99.99% it's temporary.
It's temporary, right? And so I don't want to go to school today. I have a pimple. Well, Kristen Cosmetics taught you how to cover that up. So cover that pimple up and head on out the door, right?
That's good.
So
you're like,
yeah. Now you're good. There's no excuse not to get to school. But so then as we get older, it is more of aging. Anti-aging techniques.
Yeah, accentuating.
High and tight.
Yep.
Pull it all up.
Yep.
Snatched. That's a word. Yes, we want to look snatched.
I have no idea what that word means. Hopefully you folks do.
Yes, we're pulling at the illusion, illusion of anti-aging.
Yeah, the anti-aging look. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then my oldest was 99 years old in a wedding. Great grandma.
God bless her.
I put makeup on. Yep, I put makeup on her.
I love that.
Oh, they're my favorite. They are my favorite.
Beauty's timeless.
They know who they are. They know what she said, put a little here, put a little here. She told me what to do. And
yes, ma'am.
And looked in the mirror and said, I look beautiful. And I'm like, this woman, 99 years old. She says, I look beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is your superpower? Everybody I ask on my guest list has answered this question. And I know you gave me one answer, but I think there's one hiding in there. You can pull it out.
Yeah.
What do you believe your superpower is? God-given.
Yes. I believe my vulnerability is my strength.
Okay. I was going to say
talking to you, even from talking to you today, even more so, because who gets to sit down and tell their life story?
That is vulnerable.
Unless you're charging $300 an hour for a therapist.
If you're good at something, charge for it. Yes.
Right. This was a therapy session for me too, and I realized
checks in the mail.
My vulnerability is my strength.
That's huge, and I think that has.
Yeah.
Look, it's no surprise that there's a lot of young women and same age women that could benefit from this conversation, from your business, your story. But I think that your vulnerability is a huge lesson because there's some magic there. In any scenario, not even if you want to be a content creator,
right?
But just in life, I think offering that vulnerability to the relationships that matter, the people close to you, it almost allows them a door to reciprocate that. And I think there's a lot of magic that can happen in relationship. You and your significant other are one of them, right? Because that moment you were both ready. You were both ready to find an equally vulnerable partner, and God thank that you guys found each other, and it's awesome. You have a beautiful family. I'm so excited for your business.
Oh, thank you.
I hope that one person says to you, my gosh, I saw that podcast and I thought about using your products. I wasn't sure, but then, oh my gosh, I love your story. I'm all in. If that happens, please let me know.
Yes.
I want to know.
Yes.
Do you have a website?
Yes.
We'll put that on the description then. Contact information will be on the website. Your products, I'm assuming, will be there as well. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll make sure that you have full access to this amazing young lady across from me. Yes. And thank you so much for coming. I have had a blast.
Thank you.
And to think that I am having a conversation with a guest about their budding career and success story as a makeup artist, I wouldn't have been on my bingo card. But I'm fascinated not by your specific products or techniques, but of your story, and I'm fascinated how you're reshaping my perspective as a man, as a father, husband, of what that industry can provide to a young woman. And I have a 7-year-old who is always digging into her mommy's makeup, and I was a little hesitant, and it's a joke in my house of, pull that shirt down or pull that midriff up. I don't want to see any belly, and no makeup. But I do. You've almost changed me in a way to be able to allow those moments for her to slowly become comfortable with it, because you don't want to do it at first time on your very first pimple. It's 15. So you've kind of changed me a little bit inside of that, and God forbid my daughter sees this, but
so you can just call me.
Yes,
Give her
yes,
a session on me.
yes, awesome. Well, everybody who comes on my podcast, I say a phrase to, and it means a lot to me. I'm kind of making the phrase. It's a little silly, but well, not silly to me and my audience, but I say that you're now connected to the web with 2 B's.
Oh,
because anybody can be connected to the web, but I have 2 B's. So thank you very much for coming and being connected to the web. I am super pumped. You have an amazing business. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Women need someone to look up to in this crazy world that we live in, and authenticity, integrity. I was raised, integrity is a big part of my family life. And thank you for being that person for anybody that's watching and all of your followers.
Thank you.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. We will have some fun in the comment section. We'll put you through. And I'd love to hear some feedback on some of the topics we talked about, because there's some pretty juicy ones in there. Use the word juicy. So thank you guys for being connected to the web and visiting my YouTube channel, The World Wide Web of Lending. Of course, this is not lending, but it is about our community and things that affect us, and positively and negatively. So thank you so much, Kristen. Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you next time.